Thank you guys for coming tonight. Me and the team here, Amro, Samer, Saed, and Usama, we put this together. And of course, the board of directors, Adnan, Dr. Ammar, I don't think he's here. But, we worked on this, we put this together, and alhamdulillah, we were able to be present tonight. And the event tonight is a little different than your usual event. All right, usually it's more like, hey, all right, let me tell you about the story of the Prophet, or, let me tell you about this piece of history, or let me tell you about this rule. Today we want to look at a different angle of things, right? But first, how many of you know me here? Raise your hand. How many of you know me? Okay, how many of you heard of me? Okay, so I'll give a little introduction about myself first, and we're going to go from there, all right? So my name is Ghiath Arodaki, that's in Arabic. In English, it's Ghiath Arodaki. And I have my normal 9-to-5 job. I'm an ordinary guy. I work for IBM, and I go to school. I went to San Jose State University, got my degree in Industrial and Systems Engineering, and currently I go to SMU. I do my MBA over there. So I started my public speaking career officially when I was like 18 years old, 19 years old, but when I was around 13, this is when I really kind of started getting to that realm or that world, standing in front of a stage and talking to people and all that. When I was 13, I was really bored from school. So I told my mom, hey, I'm gonna go to the mosque after school. I'm studying, I'm getting great grades. I wanna do something different, right? Some activity. And I went to the sheikh there and I said, hey, is it okay if I do the adhan? So I grew up in Kuwait, so that's not something as easily done as here. So I went to the sheikh, I said, hey, can I do the adhan? He said, okay, sure, yeah, let's do the adhan. And then for some reason, Maghrib time was always my time. I have no idea why, but I would always give the adhan at Maghrib time. And I remember that year was the year when my father had cancer, actually. So he was really excited that I was giving the adhan. So he stood right next to the window, opened up the window, and he was waiting patiently, like, to hear my voice. And he was very excited. I came home. I was like, okay, I did the adhan. All right. So I walk home, and then my dad rushed to the door, and he was like, oh my God, you gave the adhan. I heard you. It was your voice. That's your voice. So then after that, I kind of became a little bit known in the neighborhood, the little guy who gives the adhan. And my dad was meeting with all the neighbors in the lobby. They would prep before Maghrib. And they're like, okay, let's go hear him do the adhan. In addition to that, what I did also during that time, I started teaching kids Quran and stories of the Prophet and all of that. So that's kind of how everything started. When I moved to America after my father passed away, there was a little local mosque in California, and I just went there also around Maghrib. I don't know why. Maghrib is assigned for me. And there was a sheikh, and he heard my voice. He said, do you want to give the adhan? I'm like, sure, I'll give the adhan. So I give the adhan. He was like, oh my God, come here tomorrow. So he asked how many juz's of the Quran do I have memorized. I have 27 juz's, alhamdulillah. And he said, okay, memorize this and come tomorrow. So I come tomorrow, the next day, and when I go there and we start to pray the Isha, he just pushes me. I'm like, what do you want? He said, go pray, go lead. I'm like, what? No, I'm not leading. He's like, no, go lead, go lead. So I started leading Isha every single night. And then that led to, hey, you want to give khutbah? And then, hey, you want to give a little lecture? And that's kind of how I started my public speaking career. And on the side, I started mentoring little kids. I started my own company mentoring the youth and kids in California. And then I moved to Texas. And when I came to Texas, there's this little company that teaches and tutors STEM and also business and finance. So I took over the business and finance portion because I'm very interested in that. And over the course of the past 2 years, I built that knowledge and curriculum, and I was able to expand my network and learn so many things. And I talked to Dr. Ammar and Adnan and the board and the team, and I said, hey, I think those are really valuable things that we can bring back to the community. And with my public speaking experience, I think I'd love to spend my free time to help teach others about, hey, look, how this is very important to get into finance, into business, into what is the meaning of wealth and the difference between wealthy and rich. So that was a very lengthy introduction. Thank you for hearing that. Now we're going to get to the topic of the day. So, wealthy nation. When you read that, wealthy nation, what does that mean to you? What do you think about? What does come in your mind? Any volunteers?
Community is rich.
Community is rich, okay. Anyone else?
It's independent.
Independent. So what do you mean independent? Like fine?
The country or the nation or the community, they're independent and not relying on others.
Not relying on anyone else. They rely on themselves, right? They're financially free. Anyone else? Okay. Let me ask this question. What is the difference between wealthy and rich?
Rich is you have money. Wealthy is you have money that makes money.
Nice. Okay, very close. So rich, let's think of it this way, short-term money. I get cash. I have a great amount of income, right? I don't know, $1 million a month. Very great. And then I go out and I have this million. I spend it on a home. I spend it on a car, a bunch of other things. And then you open your bank account. What do you have? $0. All right, what do? You wait until your next paycheck, right? And then repeat. Wealthy is I can still spend that and I'm still able to somehow survive and not worry about starting from zero or wait for a paycheck. I don't need to wait for a paycheck. I have assets, I have real estate, I have stocks, I have many things, right? So this is the true meaning of wealthy. So here's the problem, or here's our world that we live in today. It keeps going in a circle. You start as a little kid, you get a degree, job, and marriage. Actually, one time I was having dinner with my fiance, and I joked this little joke one time, and I said, you know, in like the standard vision of society is like you're born as a kid, and then they come down to sit with you around like you're 7, 8 years old, and they say, hey, you need to learn how to read and write. You need to get good grades at school. Why? Because you have to go into high school, get good grades, and then pass the SAT, and then after that, you have to go to school, and after you go to school, you have to find a 9-to-5 job, and then so on, right? Or as my dad, bless his soul, puts it, you have 2 options. Doctor, engineer, or garbage man. Which one, right? So I was like, I don't want to be a garbage man. Okay, doctor, engineer. Okay, so I was like, all right, let's do that. So I had one of those 2 options. So my focus, or anybody's focus, is we need to get that degree. That's very important. All right, by the time you're 13, right, you're a teenager. You start trying to wonder in life and ask questions, and then they sit you down and they say, okay. So you need to get a degree because you need to get a job, because you need to be able to get married. So for you to get married, you have to provide for your wife by the job, the 9-to-5, right? Okay, cool. So the kid goes to school, goes to high school, graduates, gets a 9-to-5 job. Okay, cool, I achieved that. Now it's time to get married. No, hold on, wait a sec. You have to save money. Why do I have to save money? Because you have to pay for the marriage and get a house and get a roof on top of your head, right? Okay, you do that, done, you get married. Wait a sec, I got married, I have a job, what's next? Kids. All right, they sit you down and say, okay, have kids. So now you have kids, and when your kid is 8 excuse me, when your kid is 8 or 7 years old, you sit down with him, you tell him you have to get good grades because you have to go to school, because if you have to go to school, you have to get a good job, doctor, engineer, or garbage man, right? And then so on and so on and so on, that little cycle. You see that little animal right there? That's a bear, right? He's sleeping. You know, in stocks, you have bear stocks, right? They're kind of like not going anywhere, right? They're just gonna stay in the same cycle. So keep that in mind. We have an alternative cycle. I call it the realm beyond. All right? So education is still important. Very important, actually. Marriage is still important. Very important. Right? Having kids is also extremely important. But here is where it's different. In the first model, in the first cycle, the current world we live in, the mindset is survival. I want to earn money right now. I want cash right now. Survive. I'm not thinking about 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 500 years. As crazy as that sounds. No, I'm thinking about, am I going to have food tomorrow? I'm going to have meat on the table tomorrow? With this one, it does not start with a kid. What does it start with? Structure. There is a structure. Take a second and think about this. You are responsible for that structure. We are responsible for that structure. What does that mean? So when they ask you what's your name, what do you say? Your first name and last name. Before the first name, the most important thing is the last name. Because that's your family. And your family is part of a community. So if you do not have structure as an individual, and you're lost and in chaos, it falls back on your family. And if your family is in that chaos, it falls back on the community, and so on. It's a domino effect. So you need to be born into a structure, and that structure is an individual responsibility for each of us. So what does that mean? That means your kid is the star. You set up the right structure for them, right institution, trust fund, you have a family bond, a community bond, stability, financial health, and all of that. And then when your kid grows up, education doesn't only mean I just want to get a degree, graduate, and that's it. It doesn't stop there. It means there's values you have to teach them. Those values are uncompromised. Family first, religion, helping others. Whatever money you make, yes, you have to invest some of that, not only spend it. And you should be prepared way ahead of time to get married. Since the first day you earn your first dollar, you understand, okay, what am I going to do with that dollar? What's the meaning of that dollar? And so on. So you enrich all of these things. You introduce them to mentors. You introduce them to connections. You teach them how to go out there and start speaking with others and say, hey, my name is such and such. Nice to meet you. Nice shirt, by the way. Where's that from? What's your favorite sport? What's your favorite TV show? And so on. And then they become friends, and then they start learning the idea of value, trading values, right? So education isn't only a degree. Even when they're getting that degree, they need to understand the value of each class they are learning about. It's not only, hey, okay, I just want to pass that class because I want to get the 9-to-5 job. No, your mission is way bigger than this. In life, mission is way bigger than this. Allah created us to worship Him, but there's another part, another piece. Does anyone know what's the other piece? Anybody? عمارة الأرض. To build for prosperity. And it's part of, yes, it's part of al-amal ibadah. It's part of worshiping, right? So you're here for a mission. It should not be, I just want to survive life, whatever, have a little family and that's it. No, right? And then once they get that education, they learn the values, the financial literacy, they build credibility, they expand their connection, their network, and also, very important, it's something we lack in our community. I'll be very blunt, I'm sorry. Mannerisms. Mannerisms. I've lived in 7 states. I have interacted with so many communities. And our youth, it's a problem. They get exposed to so many things, destroys their manners. And it's not the internet's fault. It starts at home, at the mosque, at school. Who are they hanging out with? What's their goal? Where's their head? Where's their mind? What are they thinking about? When they wake up, what is their first thought of the day? Oh, I just want to be like this rapper, or wait, I want to build something different that will change the world and make the world a better place. Okay, how do I get there? Let's start by putting together a plan. They understand, when I say financial literacy, they understand, okay, here's my financial strategy, here's what I need, here's my budget. Do we have those conversations with our kids in our community? So let's think about that in a sec, right? So we need to start with a structure, think of our kids as the star, because they are the star. They are the star of the family, of the community, because they're going to be the ones holding the legacy, holding the values and the manners that once they get all of that education, the son, it goes back to the kid. And then that kid, they build that legacy, they have ownership, they expand, and they don't start from zero like the previous cycle. They actually start somewhere else, bigger, stronger, not for themselves only. Remember, there's that last name responsibility for the family, not only for the family, also for the community. Do we have any questions so far? Okay. I'm going to introduce you to something very dangerous. The bull. So we were introduced to the bear. He's sleeping, he's lazy, like the stock, right? It's not going anywhere. But then we have the other side, the bull. He's raging, he's reckless, he's going up, right? When you're looking at the stocks. Oh, it's a bullish stock, it's going up. But does that mean it's a good company? Sometimes no, it's just like GameStop in 2021. Does anyone remember what happened to GameStop in 2021?
A bunch of people got together and bet. The rich people got together and said, oh, we think the stock is going to go down. And so they could short it and get lots of money. And a bunch of regular people got together and bought a bunch of the stock where it made the stock go up, and they made money off of them instead.
Exactly. So they shorted the stock because they thought, hey, the new video game consoles, they're not supporting the idea of like an actual physical video game. They released new consoles that has digital gaming now. So you don't need a CD. You just download it. So people thought, okay, GameStop is going to crash. So they started betting against the stock, basically. Right? So they're borrowing money from a brokerage, and they're like, okay, we're going to use that money, we're going to buy the stock, and we're going to say, this stock is, let's say today it's 200. Within 1 week, it's going to become 100. So they pay back the brokerage, whatever money they borrowed, they pay back only the price of the stock today, 100, not 200. And they make money on the difference, basically, right? So a bunch of people who love GameStop for some reason, I don't know, maybe nostalgia memories, they're like, no, we're not going to let GameStop crash. That's unacceptable. Buy. So everybody started buying GameStop stock in hopes that it goes up. Now, here's the question. Is GameStop a good company? In today's world, it's not like a crazy good company. Like, I wouldn't want to invest in GameStop, right? So if the price is going up, it doesn't mean it's a good company. It could mean that it's overvalued. Now, let's think about that and put it into a person. Do you guys know those guys who put sunglasses on? They're wearing suits, and he's driving his Bugatti or Lamborghini, rolls down the window to the camera and says, hey, do you want to make $3 million a day? Here's what you have to do to make $3 million. Are you familiar with those guys? Yeah, they could be rich, but they're just like the stock. They probably do not have value, do not have manners, do not have etiquette. They do not have a vision. All what they are doing is they're chasing the dollar. That's it. Where the money is, I'll go and try to get the money. That's what I care about. I don't care about structure. I don't care about anything. In our day today, in our age, they're everywhere. Whatever you call them, the crypto bros, or I don't know what else is familiar right now. The courses thing, the people who are just like, sign up for my course, all of that, right? So a lot of people from the communities who are suffering the bear cycle, the first cycle I showed you originally, some of them, they think, okay, I want to break that cycle. I want to be rich. Remember, we said there's a difference between rich and wealthy. I want to be rich. Now, how do I get there? I don't care. I just want the money. That's it. And that creates a whole new group that are actually people who are destroying the community, destroying the youth, and also destroying themselves in the process. Because at the end of the day, what we are trying to talk about here is we don't care about the money. Money is a tool. We care about wealth. Wealth is a package. Yes, it comes with money, the idea of financial stability, financial structure, but then also it comes with manners, with etiquette, with family values, and also with the idea of legacy, right? What is legacy? What does legacy mean to you? Anybody? Does legacy mean anything to anybody?
It's creating a memory that will last even after you're gone.
Okay. Anyone else? So, achievement for ages, for decades, right? So, I love history. Does anyone love history here? Raise your hand. You like history? Yeah, I love history. Okay, so there's this guy named Julius Caesar. Anyone is familiar with this guy? All right. Do you know that we still live Julius Caesar's actions till this day? Actually, right now, in the country we live in the United States, right? So the structure he built with the idea of Roman Republic, his adopted kid, Octavian, who later on was known as Augustus, carried on with it. He structured the Roman Empire that way. And then in the United States, they borrowed all of that. And now they are trying to export it to the whole world, right? So the whole world, globalization, capitalism, all that, it all traces lineage back to that in its roots. Now apply that to your little community, to your family, as an individual. Think about your great-great-great-great-grandson 500 years from now. When they are born, are they going to say, oh, my grandfather 500 years ago, thank you so much for everything that you worked hard for, that we were able to sustain and continue to keep throughout generations till this day, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, stable life, have a purpose, have a meaning, and also be able to help others and be a positive effect to others? Or are they going to say, well, they're not even going to remember because you didn't leave anything, and all what they care about is, I need to get a degree to get a 9-to-5 job just so I can survive and have meat on my table the next day, right? Which one do you want your children, your grandchildren, and so on, 500 years from now, to think about and say? Think about that for a second. So those guys, bulls, bad. Bears, also bad. But they have pros and cons. Bulls are very ambitious, right? But they're reckless. They're just chasing money. Bears, they're very lazy, but because they just want safety, they want to be cautious. That's good, right? Being cautious, calculating the risk, being safe, that's good. I mean, you don't want to just do something reckless and just start a business or start something and then destroy the whole family in the process. But also, you don't want to kill your ambition. You want to be ambitious like the bulls, right? You want to be ambition and have a meaning in life and have a purpose. How can we balance between them? That's the Pegasus, right? Now, you're never going to find this term anywhere, right? I came up with the term. So the Pegasus is, you know what a Pegasus is? Horse with wings. It comes from Greek mythology, right? Horse with wings.
Sindibad also.
Yep. Exactly. In Sindibad, old cartoon, there's the horse with wings, right? So I love horses. I was a horseback rider when I was 17, 18 that year. It was a cool year. So horses, they're prestigious. They have their own like principle, right? They charge, but they charge with caution, strategic. And usually the person who is a knight who has the highest rank in old armies is the one who is riding a horse, right? Now add wings into that character. They're not only charging and prestigious and respected, but they keep going higher and higher and higher and higher. And that's why I came with the idea of a Pegasus. We want to be like a Pegasus. We want to be ambitious. We want to be also calculating, strategic. Think about the step before doing it, and that goes back to the original structure here, the realm beyond. You have an ambition, you want to build this large structure, but you're doing it strategically, you're learning, you're educating, you know where to place every piece. You're not just doing everything in chaos, right? So the goal of today is we want to sit down and reflect as individuals. What am I doing in my day-to-day life to keep pushing towards that legacy? Is the end of my actions, is the end of it a dead end? Going back again to the same cycle? Or is there something that will continue throughout generational wealth? Again, wealth is not only money. Money is just a small piece of it, right? Money is a tool. So think about that on an individual basis, and then think about, as an individual, how does that, or how do these actions fall back into my family? Is my family name well respected in the community? Am I carrying my family name the right way? Are my family members also carrying the family name the right way? And then how does that fall back into the community? Do we have a bond? Do we have stability? Like you said, do we have independence? Are we able to keep the money moving between us and grow? Or do we have to rely on something else? For example, I don't like a certain company. I don't like it. So I want to get another product, but here's the problem. This company leads the market. There is no other product. I have to buy from this company. Another example. My son just graduated. They're looking for a job. So I don't want them to go work for a stranger, or maybe they're not finding any job. Maybe someone in the community might have a job for them. Oh, nope, okay, because nobody in the community has businesses. So let's think about how our individual actions, whenever we switch that mindset back into the Pegasus mindset, how it's a domino effect that will affect not only yourself. Don't think about your bank accounts and pocket. Think about how that is going to help your family, not only in the present tense, in the future tense, and then also your community. So here's my call to action, and that's what we're going to conclude for the day. I want you to turn to wealth. Why? We always say in a lot of lectures, turn to God, right? Turn to God. But God is asking you to turn to wealth. Be rich in your manners, be rich in your ethics, and also be rich financially, because like Uthman, when the people were not able to get cheap water from the well because there was only one person controlling the well in the city and he was charging everybody a huge amount of money, he had the wealth and manners to go and buy that well. He did not care about the price. He bought the well, and then he had the manners to say, that well is free for everybody, it's water, come on, like everybody needs to drink water, right? And today he has a bank account that is worth multi-million dollars since 1400 years ago. So turn to wealth, be like Uthman, and thank you very much.